Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Isn't She Powerful podcast. I am your host, Laura B., and today we have a special On My Sleeve bonus episode. If you're new around here, every single month on the third Thursday, I release a bonus episode of the podcast called On My Sleeve, where I share a little bit more of the behind the scenes, things that go on in my life. It's called On My Sleeve because I wear my heart on my sleeve. Get it? Cute little name that I came up with way a long time ago. But in this episode, we are sticking with the theme of the month, and we are going to be talking about healing your relationship with food. I'm going to be sharing with you 7 unhinged things that I have done over time to heal my relationship with food. I was doing most of these around the 2022 time frame, and these things, they seem silly, they seem a little bit out there, some of them, but I'm telling you, they work, and I'm excited to share them with you because if you start doing even just a couple of these things, your relationship with food and your outlook and your mindset around food is going to change drastically, and it's going to change quickly. So with that said, let's go on and let's get into this episode. So the number one thing that I did that was a little bit unhinged to heal my relationship with food was I went ahead whenever we went to a restaurant and I would place my order for my food and then also order dessert. This way I knew dessert was coming for me. I was going to be able to eat dessert at some point in this meal. I don't need to be thinking about, I wonder if my husband Shane, I wonder if he's going to want to eat dessert with me. I wonder if we're going to even, which one are we going to choose? Like, we already know we're getting dessert. I don't have to think about it. I just get to be present with the person that I'm enjoying this meal with. I get to be present in this restaurant. I get to be present with my food as I'm eating it. And I know that dessert is coming. Because a lot of times for me, whenever my relationship with food was really rough, and I know that this is true for a lot of other people too, if you don't go on and know, like, I know that I'm going to get to eat this food later, then you're going to spend so much time thinking about, I wonder if that food's going to be a part of my life later. I wonder if I'm going to get to eat that. I wonder when, I wonder how, I wonder if somebody's going to judge me for eating it. No, all of that gone because we went ahead and made this decision right from the jump that we were going to order this dessert. And I went ahead and told the lady, like, it's already coming. My waitress already put in the order. I know as soon as I finish my dinner, then I'm going to get that dessert. So go on and order your food right from the jump. Order that dessert whenever you order your meal and watch the amount of stress that takes off of you and the amount of spirals that go on in your head while you're eating at a restaurant. Now, to kind of piggyback off of that, you could do the same thing whenever you're eating at home if you wanted to. If you wanted to go on and have that conversation with the person that you're eating with, or if you're just eating by yourself, have a little internal conversation. I know that when we finish this meal, we are going to eat XYZ. Just go on and lay it all out there so that you don't have to be worried about, is this, like, you're not constantly overthinking it while you're eating. You're present with your food, and then you get to be present with the dessert as well. The second thing that I did that was a little bit unhinged when it came to healing my relationship with food, and this is the one that I actually think made the biggest difference for me, and that was I literally ate chocolate of some kind every single day. I went ahead and I knew whenever I packed my lunchbox for work and over the weekends, I went ahead and planned when it was going to be. I put my food, my chocolate, my candy bar in with my lunch so that I could have that after I finished. That is something that, it sounds crazy, right? Like, I'm a health person and I'm telling you that I want you to intentionally eat chocolate. What is she talking about? I do, because I want you to get to the point where having dessert and having chocolate around you is a neutral feeling. I don't want it to be something where you constantly are thinking like, no, I shouldn't have that. That's off limits. We've got to stay away from that food. I want it to be neutral. I want that food to be around you and you say, okay, yeah, I'll have it if I want it. And if I don't want it, then I don't have to have it. But I spent a good month or 2 months where every single day after I finished lunch, I was having a few squares of chocolate. I found some candy bars that I just genuinely enjoyed. They were dark chocolate made with really great ingredients. I kept one of them in my lunchbox all the time, and I would have 2 to 4 squares of that candy every single day whenever I finished lunch. And it was so comforting because I did not spend the entire day thinking, I wonder, am I going to have that? I shouldn't have that. I need to stay away from that candy. I didn't spend the whole day thinking about it because I knew, yeah, I'm going to have it right after lunch. It's just a part of my life now. It's not something that I have to be concerned with the way that I used to be. The third thing that I did that helped to heal my relationship with food and has now made me an even healthier person. This is a habit that I have continued on for years now, and it has helped so much with me getting more nutrients into my diet. And that is, I started to add chocolate into chocolate is my choice, but if you're like a sugar or any like a sour person or something like that, you can add that in, but chocolate's just my personal, like, that's my drug of choice, I guess. But I would add chocolate into my snacks intentionally because I learned very quickly about myself whenever I started trying to heal my relationship with food and started to try to lose weight and go through this entire journey of getting healthy. I learned that my sweet tooth is really loud in the afternoons. Like, if I don't intentionally have something sweet planned, then I know that there's going to be a voice in my head that's asking me, Laura, what sweet are we going to eat? When's the chocolate coming? We want some sugar. And it was just going to keep nagging at me until I finally gave it what it was asking for. And so instead, I started planning for it, and I started planning how to add chocolate into a snack. So a lot of times what you're going to hear is, oh, snack on, something that's like super dry or bland, and it doesn't really have a lot of flavor to it. So I started finding ways that I could add chocolate to the snacks that I was having. For example, something like my like go-to snack was popcorn, and I would get like the butter popcorn. I would do the ones from Lesser Evil, and they have so many different flavors now, but I would get the one that was like gold butter or something like that. And popcorn with nuts of some kind, so walnuts, pecans, almonds of some kind, and then chocolate chips. That was my go-to. I would combine those three things into a snack and have it with me in the mornings when I pack my lunchbox. I intentionally made sure that I had that with me. I would also do things like yogurt cups, but I wouldn't just have a yogurt cup plain. I would add chocolate chips into my yogurt cup, and that made me enjoy it so much more. It gave me something to look forward to. I really liked having that snack, and that was a way to add something into my diet that I was really wanting, plus giving my body what it needed. In the afternoons, our bodies need that extra protein. It needs that extra fiber so that we can continue on for the rest of the day and have lots of energy and feel really good and get done everything else we need to get done in the day. We're like only halfway through at that point. And so I knew that I needed to add to the thing that I wanted, because otherwise I was going to eat that candy. If I didn't pack for it and I didn't plan ahead for what I was going to have, I was going to find something. There was going to be some way, and a lot of times it would end up being something that I didn't even like. I would just have junk that I just didn't even care about because I wanted sugar that bad. The voice in my head was so loud a lot of times. And so I made sure to intentionally pack something and add to that chocolate so that I could get satisfied with what I wanted and what I needed. Thing number 4 is I kept trigger foods in my house at all times on purpose. So foods that normally would be something that I would feel like I would have no control around. Like, they weren't allowed in my house because I was out of control around them. And if I had them around, then I was going to eat them. I started intentionally getting those foods and putting them in my pantry and having them around at all times. This is a process called habituation. And when we have these foods around more and more, it just becomes normal. Our brains stop putting them on a pedestal. It stops thinking like, oh, this food is so special, and when it's around, all she does is think about it, so it must be really awesome. We need to make sure that we have this food, because that's what is happening. When you restrict foods, you are telling your brain and your body that food is really special because you're talking about it more, you're thinking about it more, right? Like, think about if I was to tell you right now, hey, don't think about a blue tree. You're immediately going to think about a blue tree. So if I say, don't think about candy bars, immediately you're going to start thinking about candy bars. If I say, don't think about Oreos, what are you thinking about right now? Oreos. And so you want to get to the point where even when those foods are around, you feel completely neutral around them. And the way to make that happen is to be around them more often, okay? So having foods intentionally in my home that used to stress me out, and if they were around, then I would only think about them. I would just be thinking about, I can't wait to go eat that. I'm wondering, I know I need to stay away from it, but I really want to eat that food. And I would just constantly be thinking about that food. And instead, I started keeping that food in my house. And what that did was it told my subconscious brain, this is just a normal food. It's just in her house. She can have that food anytime she wants to. And I would intentionally check in. If I knew that I was going to go reach for that food, I would check in and be like, do I really want that food right now? And I would have to be honest with myself. Sometimes the answer was yes. Sometimes I actually did really want it. And it is okay to have those foods when you really want them. The problem occurs when we start having those foods even when we don't want them, just because they're there. That's what we're trying to avoid. That's what we're trying to get out of the habit of doing. And so I would intentionally ask myself, do we really want this food right now? Is this something that is like, I want this not from a place of craving, not from a place of feeling like I can't have it or a deep, insatiable desire, but instead, that just sounds really yummy right now. And I just had my dinner, so I can have those Oreos right now. I feel really comfortable with doing that. Have that conversation with yourself. All right, the fifth unhinged thing that I did to heal my relationship with food is I started eating all of my food, even snacks, on a plate and not just straight out of the bag or straight out of the box. I would intentionally put these foods on a plate, because what that does is it tells our body, it tells our brain and our subconscious mind that this is real food and you are allowed to have it. Because if you were to eat a meal at home or go to a restaurant and have a meal, it's going to come on a plate, which is signaling to your brain and body, this is a meal, enjoy it, you're supposed to have this. And instead, what we do when we're having these candies and things like that, we feel like we need to sneak them, like they're a bad thing, and we just need to quickly eat it and toss the trash away and maybe even cover it up. I used to do that all the time. Cover my candy wrappers up in the trash can so that nobody would know that I'd eaten those things. But instead of doing that, we want to take time, put the food on the plate, and let your brain and body know this is good, this is normal, you can have this. This is a food that you are allowed to have, you're choosing to have it, and then spend time with it. Actually enjoy that food. Don't get to the point where you're rushing through this food, you're not even enjoying it. How many times have you eaten something that you were really wanting and then you eat it so fast that you get to the end and you're like, well, I didn't even taste that. I don't even know what that tasted like because I ate it so fast. I wish I could go back and have it again. And so maybe you do. That's whenever you keep continuing to eat Hershey Kiss after Hershey Kiss after Hershey Kiss because you're not stopping to actually taste the food. So take some time, put it on a plate. Even if it is a handful of Hershey Kisses, literally put it on a plate. See this food. Spend a little time with this food and then eat it. Spend some time with it while you're eating it and really genuinely taste it. And that is going to make you feel so much more satisfied so that you don't continue eating past the point of satisfaction just because you're eating so fast you don't even remember tasting it. All right, number 6, this is one that I actually recently posted about on social media in kind of a roundabout way, but it is to, whenever you want the food, just eat the real food. Don't go for some healthier swap. And specifically, I'm kind of talking here about protein ice cream, protein cookies, protein this and that. We're constantly putting protein powder into literally everything that we are eating, and what that's doing is damaging your relationship with food, because I'm telling you, you can eat these foods literally anytime you want to, and they don't have to have extra protein in order for them to be okay for you to eat. Let me say that again. These foods do not have to have extra protein in order for them to be okay for you to eat. You can eat these foods any day, anytime that you want to, just as they are. What's happening, especially whenever we do have protein ice creams or healthier ice creams, low calorie, whatever, or high protein, whatever, what's happening is we're literally telling ourselves that these foods aren't allowed to be had unless they have protein in them, and then you're having them and they're not even hitting the spot because they're not actually what you wanted, and so then you're going to eat more, and then you're going to eat more, and then you're going to eat more, and at that point you might as well just had the real thing anyways. So just eat the real food whenever the desire for the real food comes up. Am I saying that protein and protein powder and adding protein to sweeter foods doesn't have a place? No, of course not. When I was talking about my snacks earlier, I was saying that I intentionally added protein and fiber to my snacks. I'm saying that those things do have a place, but it doesn't have to be every single time. You are allowed to just have a cookie just for the sake of having a cookie, or have a cake, or have whatever else you want just for the sake of it. it, okay? And then number 7, the final thing that I did that was a little unhinged to heal my relationship with food is having my favorite foods on a normal day. Those things that I'm like, oh my gosh, that cake, I make it only for special occasions. I'm started making it on a Tuesday because I felt like having that cake on a Tuesday. So those things that you normally save, like for us, going to the Cheesecake Factory is a special occasion type thing. We went there on the day we got engaged. We've gone there for birthdays and other celebrations since then, and it became something where it was like, well, we're not allowed to have cheesecake, especially from the Cheesecake Factory, unless it's a special occasion. And so finally, I got to the point of saying, you know what, we are going to just go to Cheesecake Factory just for the sake of going to the Cheesecake Factory because we want to. We're going to order cheesecake. We're going to enjoy it. We're just going to be okay with it and not beat ourselves up about it. And so that's exactly what we did. And now we go to the Cheesecake Factory more and more often because we love it there. And we are in so much control around that food. We literally get one slice of cheesecake and eat on it for multiple days during the week because we can, because we feel good doing that. We're so in control with the food that we don't have to spend all of this time, worried about, I can't have it. And then we go and we eat it all in one sitting, and then we feel guilty about it, and we feel so frustrated about it. Instead, I said, you know what? We can have this food on a normal day, any old day we want to. I'm not saving it up for special occasions anymore because that takes it off the pedestal. Whenever we are putting these foods only to have them on special occasions, only to be had afternoons and not in the evenings, or only to be had in certain ways on certain days at certain times, we're putting these foods on a pedestal. Same thing happens whenever you say that food's off limits. I'm not allowed to have that food. That food is bad. That food is blah, blah, blah. That is putting that food on a pedestal. It's making your brain think about it more and more and more. And so then you're going to feel even more out of control around that food whenever the time comes to actually eating it. And so instead, tell yourself, I can have this food any day, any time that I want to, and start intentionally planning for when are we going to have that food, any day and any time we want to, and make it a normal part of your life. All right, so those are the 7 unhinged things that I did to heal my relationship with food over the last few years. These things have made a very big difference in my ability to be in control around foods, to be consistent with healthy eating, and to have lost weight and feel really great around food now. I no longer feel out of control whenever it comes to any foods, whether it be my favorite foods or foods that I actually hated that I would still binge eat. I don't feel that way anymore. I don't binge eat anymore. All of these things are gone, and that's because I did some of these more unhinged things. I hope that you start to implement these. I would love so much if you did start to implement them, if you would come over to Instagram or write a comment on one of these videos and let me know what were the unhinged things that you started to try and what were the impacts. How did it feel for you? I hope that you start to see some immediate progress from these. I know that I did, and I know that so many of my clients have, so I look forward to hearing all of your progress, and I will see you next week for the next episode in the Heal Your Relationship with Food series for the Essentially Powerful podcast. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you again next week, and always remember, the more you know, the more you grow.